Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Mr.
Well, there, Mr.
LA.
World Traveler. How you doing? What nice of you to join us.
It was tough. It's been a while. I did go to Vienna and Prague and Amsterdam. What
Yeah,
I
but it was
remember of Amsterdam,
Amsterdam you wanted to go to the most.
I don't remember much. I just remember the first night we went to a place called Lost in Amsterdam, and I had some drinks that had CBD mixed into it, which is quite a delicious drink.
So you went to Amsterdam and they tell you you had a good time, huh?
Yes. I was not allowed to go to the red light district as much as I wanted to because we
Mm.
had
Yeah,
wives with us who,
right.
not that
Those,
I would
those,
have misbehaved,
those pesky wives.
but it was just that, how despicable and disgusting how they treat women here, and kind of takes the fun away.
Yep.
There was the Museum of Sex and the Museum of Sex Machines and the Museum of Prostitution.
Wow.
Are very educational. So
That's decadent.
now you had asked me to bring back a t-shirt for you. I actually did bring back, believe it or not, some chocolate for you. We may have eaten it by now, but I'll see if I can find it.
Does it have any special ingredient?
No, 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 no.
It's
Just
straight up chocolate?
pure chocolate, pure chocolate.
Wow.
They really love chocolate in Europe. Chocolate's very popular. Yeah.
It's a good thing. Chocolate is awesome.
So let me take this moment to congratulate you on receiving an award for the main
Maine
broadcast.
Association of Broadcasters.
Yes,
Yep, best sports
which,
feature.
by the way, you should be in the Hall of Fame. And once again, you have to remind me who to send a letter to, because I've sent a letter before. I don't know why that
Yeah.
didn't get you in. What does it
Well,
take
I
to get
do
in?
know why, because well,
Who do
you
you have to
you sent
know?
it,
Who do you have to
you
pay?
you sent it, and unfortunately, the president of the Maine Association of Broadcasters at that time, Suzanne Goucher, the late great Suzanne Goucher, passed away, and I assume it got lost in the shuffle. Now,
It was my letter. Did that contribute to her passing away?
I don't think so. Now the great Tim Moore is in charge, an old radio buddy who had a brief stay with us at Portland Radio Group, uh,
Really?
very brief. Um, and speaking of Portland Radio Group, Kerry Pahigian was there Saturday night because his ex-wife, Barbara Quill, was inducted into the Maine Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Barbara was the first female anchor on Maine television back in the day.
Man, first of all, ex-wife?
Ex.
When did he get divorced?
Way back when?
Oh, so this is because he's married to a Barbara.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I was thinking to myself,
Wrong Barbara.
wait, did he get divorced and not I
Yeah,
am a
Barbara
divorce
Barbara
attorney?
Quill was the first female anchor, I believe, 1973 in
Huh?
Maine,
Oh,
and was a pioneer for sure. Was a very good anchor. She'd grown up. Her father owned a radio station in Mass, so he taught her everything about running, about how to dub carts and all that stuff we did back in the day. Anyway, Barbara was inducted, so Carrie was there.
nice.
Many of our Portland Radio Group friends were there. John Shannon from WPOR. Let's see, Rick Johnson.
Chuck Igo there?
Chuck was there.
Done.
Chuck was there. Comedian Jimmy Dunn entertained. That was fun.
Nice.
Who's now on Frasier, the
Yeah.
new Frasier, the reprise of Frasier.
Oh, I didn't know he was on Frasier.
Yeah, he's on Frasier. Yeah, he play. Boy, talk about type. He plays a Boston firefighter.
I'll have to watch it. I've been
Yeah, it's
watching
good.
old Frasier on YouTube. The best, funniest 10 moments, and the Lilith, best of Lilith, and so forth and so on. So that
So that
wow.
was a fun night, and I brought the hardware home and hung out with some old radio friends, and it was a good time.
Well,
So
congratulations. I
I
still
mean,
get
it's
emails from people
not a trip.
saying,
It's not Amsterdam, but it filled the bill.
no, you gotta be, I want to be there when you're inducted in the Hall of Fame. So I got it.
Ken, if I am so fortunate to get in, I might have you give the indoctrination speech.
Oh my God, that would be a blast.
Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
That would be great. All right, now I got another incentive for doing it. All right,
Yes.
let's talk election. This is Wednesday. I don't know if you know this. The election is next Tuesday.
Right. Well, now my big quandary is, am I going to vote in Waterville, where I'm living now? And these are my new digs.
Yeah.
Or am I going to vote in Lisbon, where I'm actually still registered to vote? I've got
It's
to
both the
register.
second, both second district, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. No, Durham was the
Yeah,
second district. So
I
yeah.
don't. I don't know, but anyway, I've got to register to vote here in Waterville, and cast my ballot for Donald Trump and JD
Well, you
Vance.
can register. You can register the day of the election, you know. So
Yeah, I don't want to do that though. I don't want to. Did
well,
you
I
vote?
voted. I voted. I absolutely voted. Yeah.
I'm going to cancel your vote out, like I always do.
Yeah, but see, I don't care because I'm in the first district. Donald Trump will not win the first district. I did run across somebody who was arguing with me in the first district why they're voting for Donald Trump. I said, I don't care. He's not going to win the first district. It may contribute to the statewide vote, but he's not going to win Maine. He's not going to win the first district. So I don't care.
No, he is going to win the election though.
I don't think so. I think he can. So I'll give you my.
You think she's going to win?
Oh, I think she absolutely can win. I'm not saying she's going to. So I'll give you my 3 minute spiel on why or how. Okay. I think it's going to be a razor thin vote. I think that it's going to be closer than 2000. I think that if the polls are correct, Donald Trump wins. If the polls are incorrect, Kamala Harris wins. I think they're inflating the black male vote for Donald Trump. They may be inflating, I'm talking about the polls, they may be inflating suburban white women's vote for Kamala, but those may just cancel everything out. I think actually one of the most ironic focus groups that could swing the election, which I've never been a part of, which is the white male college educated vote, which has never been frankly, important in an election. I think that if enough white men vote for Kamala Harris, which is not the trend, she wins. Look, I think the problem is with the Electoral College, Democrats have to win, I'm going to say by 4% more the national vote. And right now it's a dead heat. So the odds are against her. I will tell you that any other Republican would win this election. Even JD Vance would win this election handily. I think the only weakness in the election is Donald Trump because Donald Trump is still Donald Trump. My last thing I'll say is that I really think it comes down to Pennsylvania. To be honest with you, I think one state. I think Pennsylvania, maybe North Carolina. If Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania and North Carolina, it's over. If Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania and North Carolina, it's over. If she wins Pennsylvania and he wins North Carolina, I still think she wins. If she wins North Carolina and he wins Pennsylvania, which would be a stretch, she'd have to win Arizona and or Nevada to win. But yeah, I do think she can win. And I'm going to tell you why I think she's going to win. I'm not predicting she's going to win. I think that what could decide the vote are Republicans who just can't pull the trigger for Donald Trump again because of character. I think policy, they're on board with it. But I think there are some people who will just say, I just can't do it. So they either don't vote or they go in and decide at the polls they're going to vote for Harris. And those are the people that aren't picked up on the polls. And that's why I think in this election, very much like 2016, I think the polls are just inaccurate. I just don't think they're accurate. I don't think they pick up young people. And I think there's a lot of women whose husbands vote for Trump and the women don't want to tell their husbands they're not going to vote for Trump. I think there's a lot of those people out there. So I think Kamala's going to squeak it out. I think it's going to be very close. I would never bet on her. I'd never bet against Donald Trump. But I think at the end of the day, I think she wins.
Are you impressed by her?
I am. Look, I know you don't like her. Understand in 2020, I supported her for the nomination. I did not like Joe Biden. She is, I know you guys, look, Donald Trump, I don't like Donald Trump, but there are some things about him that I have to concede. For some reasons, Republicans refuse to concede anything about Kamala Harris. I think that she's grown and matured since 2020. I think she's highly intelligent. I think she's highly articulate. I think she's run a good campaign. If I was her, I would have
And
thrown
did you do hallucinogenic mushrooms over there?
I would have
She,
thrown Joe Biden under the bus on the border issue if I
have
was her.
you watched her in an interview? Have you
Yeah, I thought the
seen
Fox
her?
News was fabulous, and you guys think she was horrible. It's in the eye of the beholder. You guys love when Donald Trump says something. I think he's an idiot. I think the man's got a doorknob for a brain. I think he's the most unethical, irresponsible, disgusting human being that's ever run for office, period. Let me put you this way. Fox News is a perfect example. The people like Kamala thought she did great. The people like Trump thought she did horrible. People are going to always see their candidate in a more favorable light and the opposing candidate.
I know that, but I look, I agree with you. Trump can be fucking idiotic. Says some of the dumbest things. The whole thing last week, I don't know if you heard about Arnold Palmer's dick size. That's just inane.
Gary
So
Hart,
I recognize that. Can't you recognize that she can't answer a simple, basic
oh,
question?
I think she can. I think she's careful not to, and I think there's a reason for that. I think that she doesn't want to be tied down to specifics. I mean, the
No,
Biden.
she doesn't want to. They don't want her to. They don't want her to show how stupid she is,
No, it's
Ken.
not about its stupidity. She's got
Yes,
to
it
put
is.
the line between progressive and moderate, and she can't say.
It's not
Uh,
moderate.
I don't think she is moderate. I think she's more progressive, and that will hurt her in the election. So she's got to basically avoid. I mean, she's got policies. If you go on her website, she spells out her policy about everything. There's no secrets there. She's talking in platitudes. She's talking about change, and she's talking about Trump's character. That's what she's running on. The Biden administration, right or wrong, is an unpopular administration. Remember, George Bush's administration was unpopular until he got out of office. Richard Nixon's administration was unpopular until he got out of office. Bill Clinton's was popular until he got out of office, and now they look at it from a different light. So, look, Kamala Harris. People said the same thing about Hillary. Hillary lost because people hated her. I met Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is one of the most intelligent women I've ever met. She's nothing as people perceive her to be, but that's how conservatives perceive her to be. The problem with Donald Trump is not that I wouldn't get wealthier under his presidency, because I probably would. I think he's done good things for the economy. It's just lack of character. And frankly, an intention to be a dictator as much as he can get away with. And nowadays you can get away with a lot,
Can you tell
particularly if,
me one thing he did while president the first time that was dictator-like?
well, no, he said he's going to be a dictator this time. And remember, when he says things like, I'm going to have my political enemies arrested, what's going to happen? It undermines our policy of democracy. Saying things like that and saying, well, come on,
Not
he
going
should
to have
take
his
off his mouth.
political enemies arrested.
You can't say
No,
those.
Joe Biden's the one who's had his political enemies arrested.
What political enemy has he had arrested?
Well, Donald Trump would be one of them.
He didn't have Donald Trump arrested. Well, how did Jack Smith was appointed long before Joe Biden came along? That's not Joe Biden. Why? How does Joe Biden have the right to arrest Donald Trump? Zero.
He
Nobody,
doesn't, but it happened.
but not. There is no evidence that Joe Biden caused Donald Trump to be
And
arrested.
there's
Donald
also
Trump got
no evidence
arrested,
that Donald Trump is going to be this fascist, Hitler-like dictator either.
except he said he was going to
Can't,
be.
because you can't do that. There are too many constitutional checks and
But
balances.
the Republicans kowtow to him, and the
Everything
problem
that Biden and Harris say that Trump has done, Biden and Harris have done. Everything.
not said the things he has said.
Uh, uh,
Donald Trump has said, "I will
actions
be."
speak louder than words.
Donald Trump says, "I'm." Donald Trump started an insurrection. Like I've never known any president who's done that. You can poo-poo it all you want, but he incited a riot. There's
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind he did that, and he is a narcissist. All presidents are narcissistic. He redefines it. He's immoral. He's unethical. He is a liar. He's a cheat. It's just the thought of him being the president of the United States is chilling to me. Now, from a practical point of view, I think
You've got Trump derangement syndrome as
well,
bad as anybody that I've ever heard.
I'm not being
Chilling to you, chilling? Really, Ken? You're chilled by it?
yeah,
We've already
because
lived through 4 years of it, you seem to be fine.
Well,
To
but
be
this is another.
killed by it,
Here's what Donald Trump's going to do. Remember, Donald Trump has still not conceded the 2020 election.
just
Okay.
like Hillary didn't concede the 2016
In
election
9 days, in
and
9 days.
and still says to this day that Donald Trump was an illegal president.
No, that is
I can find you loops of it on YouTube. I'm happy to send it to you.
she conceded in 9 days. Donald Trump, it's been 4 years. Okay, there's just no comparison between the two. Mike. There's no comparison between the
You
two.
know what? And what you just said isn't going to make a difference with the election. So I don't
I
know why we
agree.
bother talking about it.
Because we're talking about character. And the problem with Donald Trump, from a practical point of view, the real problem from my point of view is the judicial appointments that'll happen for the next 4 years if he gets elected.
To the victor goes the spoils.
It's going to be, I agree with you. It's going to be
you guys have
Republican
had
Senate.
your appointments, and
I
now the
agree.
conservatives get theirs.
I agree.
The way it goes.
Yes. And
Yep.
absolutely right.
Barack Obama said, "Win an election."
Well, he did win an election and he didn't get a judicial appointment.
Well, that's because Ruth Bader Ginsburg wouldn't go away, and some of them wouldn't go
he
away.
had a year. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. When he nominated Merrick Garland, he had a year before the election, and the Senate held it up because they could do it. That's not with the spoils goes this election. And then Donald Trump had a nominee 1 month before the election, and that got put through so you listen. You
I
can't
know,
say that
Ken.
it's that you can't do that. That's not
Were
democracy.
any of the rules? Those were the Senate rules, right? And that is
Well,
another
like I said,
debate.
there was even your friend Susan Collins said that was a travesty of justice.
Who's not my friend anymore. I wouldn't vote for her ever again. After she voted to confirm Jackson, I wouldn't.
But that's what she says. If the person's, that's why she voted for Kavanaugh. Remember that discussion. Well, Kavanaugh was qualified, so I voted to confirm him. I mean, that's her.
Trump will get 300 plus electoral votes.
All right, let's place a bet on that. You're really willing to bet on that?
Yeah.
So you think he's going to get 300 plus electoral votes? Okay, what's the bet?
I'll take you out to lunch.
Okay,
your choice.
Lunch on that. Okay,
you name the place.
Great. I'm going to want a steak sandwich somewhere.
Yeah, something fancy like a Happy Meal at McDonald's, the dollar menu.
Nobody's going to get 300 electoral votes. Neither one of them is going to. I think if she wins, she'll get 280, maybe probably 280, maybe 283 if she gets really lucky. It's Donald Trump's to lose. The thing is that he's doing everything he can. I mean, that Puerto Rican thing was just the stupidest thing he could have possibly done.
He didn't do it. It was a comedian. He didn't say it.
But they vet him. They knew exactly what he was going to say.
He didn't say it.
He didn't. Of course,
Jon Stewart went on the Daily Show the other night and said that whole thing was a bunch of bullshit, and he's right.
Who said that?
Jon Stewart on the Daily Show.
I saw that. Donald Stewart said he thinks that comedian's funny, but he didn't think that was.
I mean, I can go back and find you minutes of tape of Howard Stern in blackface using the N-word in the
but not supporting, not as an opening act for a presidential campaign. Listen, I don't care. There's 500,000 Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania. So be my guest. Make statements like that. If you don't think it's going to sway some votes, would it sway enough votes?
Should she go on? Should she go on the Joe Rogan podcast?
I don't care if she wants to. Sure. If I was her, I'd go on every podcast, every interview physically possible. I think she went on Fox News. I thought it was a great thing for her to do. I'd go on everything. One of the problems is that I don't think she did enough media interviews in her campaign. I think she needed to do more, and I think she needed to distance herself from Biden more. Because when you look back, until Al Gore distanced himself from Bill Clinton, Bush was ahead 12 percentage points, and then finally Gore distanced himself from Clinton and started to gain traction. Vice presidents who run after presidents, Hubert Humphrey's one. You gotta distance yourself from an unpopular administration, whether it's fair or not. You're saddled with what the president does, and she has not done good enough to say, "Listen, we made mistakes. I made mistakes on the border. I admit it. Those mistakes. Here's how I'm going to rectify. Here's what I'm going to do."
Did you watch any of the Trump Rogan interview?
No, no.
So I thought, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I've watched a lot of it, but I haven't watched the whole thing. I thought Trump came across as sort of almost every man. He was talking about virtually anything and everything, whether it was sports, talking about ultimate fighting, talking about golf, which I'm sure you would have found interesting. I honestly don't think Kamala Harris is well-rounded enough to go and do the kind of freewheeling interview that Donald Trump did. I thought
But
it was
who watched? Who only Trump supporters watched that interview? The people who the
37 million views so far.
and he had 70 million people vote for him. Look, people who watch Kamala Harris like Kamala Harris. I don't. When Donald Trump speaks, I turn off the TV. I don't want to hear him. And I think most Republicans turn off when they hear Kamala Harris. Who are the? I don't think there's any undecideds. I think the only people left are people who are Republicans who haven't decided if they can bring themselves to vote for Donald Trump. I think those are the only undecideds left. And I don't think anything that happens. I don't think the Puerto Rican comment was a October surprise. I don't think so at all. I don't think her closing speech last night will change any minds. I think if people go in the booth and say to themselves, I just can't do it, or go in the booth and say, okay, I need to vote for him because of his policies, I think that'll determine the election. And I can't tell you what it's going to be. I don't know.
So here at home, the word on the street that I get is Jared Golden's in trouble in the second district.
I told you that 2 months ago. His numbers,
and I didn't believe it.
His numbers at that point were 3.
I didn't believe it. And what I'm being told is that one of the reasons why is Harris is a drag from the top of the ticket.
Oh, I think Harris will get more votes than Biden did in Maine. I really do. I don't think that's the reason. I think his his change on guns hurt him. I don't think it should have, but they were a gun happy state. And you say anything bad about guns in the second district? I mean, John Baldacci never said a negative word about guns in any election ever. He's a smart politician. And it's shocking because I think Jared Golden is exactly the kind of Democrat that the second district could embrace. So it's ironic to me that he would lose the election. And I think Terrio is just, I mean, once again, how do we bring ourselves to elect these people? It's a mystery to me. I think he is an empty suit at best.
Well, he's a kid, and he is a kid, but he's maybe more relatable to people in this. He's a NASCAR guy. His last name is Terrio, which flies a lot of French Canadian people. But I think he may be more out cut from the cloth of the second district more than Jared Golden, who, even though he's not an ex-Marine, but a Marine, because no Marine's an ex-Marine, a Marine, and has that going for him, and I find that incredibly honorable, and that's part of the reason I liked him. But he is still a little preppy and a little not second districty, if I can say that. So maybe that's part of the reason of Terrio's appeal. But from what I'm hearing, here we are less than a week to go, that they're nip and tuck, which is surprising to me.
I think so, and I think I'm not sure. I thought Jared had run a better campaign, but this no-show Terrio, I'm not sure that resonates with anybody. I mean, do you really care that he didn't show up for 45 votes and got paid? Really? That's the best. I think his ads with his family are pretty good. I think some of the people who there's one ad I got to tell you, not to offend anyone. Have you seen the one with that big, huge guy who said that Jared voted to let immigrants get free hotel rooms and I have to pay $100, I have to sleep in my car? I don't know where they found this guy. I would not have put that guy in any ad. And then you look,
anything goes now.
And then you look at and then he's in a Mini Cooper. Is his car? It's like, wait a minute, you in a Mini Cooper? Seriously? It is the most. If you have a chance,
I'll find it on YouTube.
And it's a guy in a Mini. You just got to see it. And You tell me if this is the guy you want, if this guy's talking to you, if he's going to convince you that who you should vote for. But I think it's going to be nip and I think the Democrats will win the U.S. House of Representatives. I think the Republicans will win the Senate. And I think it'll end up being 52-48. And I think the House margin will be a swing of 4 or 6. It's going to be very, very tight. It's going to be very tight. But the Senate's important because they'll confirm all of Trump's judicial appointments. So goodbye, Supreme Court, for the next 20 years. But to the victor goes the spoils.
Win an election, Ken. That's what you
now
do.
is Demi going to beat Angus?
She's a dolt. You see, I can do it. You don't do it with your people.
I do. Are you kidding me? There's lots of Democrats I make fun of.
She's the perfect sacrificial lamb. She has a life of achievement. She is the daughter of immigrants. She came, she grew up. She joined the armed forces, went to college, became a dentist. It's great. But Angus King is unbeatable. He has tenure. He can be there and I will say that he holds his age a whole lot better than a lot of people do because he doesn't appear to be as old as he is. Still very strong voice, very Angus King. He's no different now than he was 40 years ago. She's just not a good candidate, but there isn't anyone.
No, it's like Shelley. Do you think Shelley has any chance of losing the election?
She's going to get 80% of the vote, maybe. I don't know.
Any idea about?
I don't know why, but she does.
Any idea who's going to be the gubernatorial? I mean, Rick Bennett? Do you think he's going to be the Republican candidate? I mean,
no, I hope he's not. I think Rick's done some good things, but I think he's too much of a rhino for me.
Who else? Who else?
I don't know who's in either bullpen. Who's going to run?
Well, Troy Jackson. Troy Jackson's
Shenna Bellows probably. She's warming
Hannah
up.
Will run. Troy will run. I don't think Hannah will run. I'd love to see Justin Alfon run. I'd love to see it, but
he's been too out of it. He's not, he's not relevant anymore.
Popular. It's pretty popular.
He's popular down there. He's not going to be popular up north of here.
I absolutely don't know who the leading candidates are.
I can't tell you one person on the Republican side who's warming up in the bullpen for a run for governor in when is she done? In 26? I don't know.
26, yeah. I think that if Jared wins this election, he could probably run for governor if he thinks that he's going to keep having challenges like this every 2 years. And being a Democrat in the 2nd district is not a treat. I mean, it's not, it's always a hard election.
It's not fun. He might be Baldacci like enough. John did a great job of sort of that delicate balance between being a little more left when he had to be, a little more moderate to right when he had to be, and was able to walk the tightrope and get elected. He was from Bangor. That made a difference. Golden, if Golden wins this election, I think his future, whatever he wants to run for, is open to him. If he loses, obviously, you got to sit back and, wouldn't be the first one to lose an election and have to recalibrate, so to speak. But I think he's got a political future either way. But if he wins this election, I think you're right. He could very, very well be a viable candidate for governor.
Run for Susan's seat if Susan doesn't run again.
And I don't think she will.
I don't know. I didn't think she was going to last time, but who knows?
She also said she was only going to serve one term. So,
that's right. All right. Well, so look, we should do the podcast. I think after I don't think we need to do the Monday before.
We want to do on Monday just to see if anything's changed. Maybe a quickie.
I always like a quickie. I'm a big fan of quickies.
Boy, that went right off the rails there, man. That's not what I meant. All right, we'll play it by ear. How's that?
Play by ear, and definitely after by the way, I will also say, we're not going to know the results of the election next Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Friday. Pennsylvania does not count their votes, the write-in ballots, until 2 or 3 days afterwards. So I think it's going
to get like this. 50 years ago, we had at 9 o'clock, we knew who was going to win. Now we've got all this technology.
We also didn't have primaries back then. So,
Democrats don't have primaries.
Nobody had a primary back in the 60s. We just didn't do that. You went to the back room and you nominated somebody.
Kind of
That's
like you guys did this year.
as we should. Listen, thank God. Would we be having this discussion if Joe Biden was the candidate? And one of the reasons why Joe Biden's administration is so unpopular was he didn't have the physical ability to go out and sell his agenda or convince people it's successful. Even if you don't like it, the point is he didn't have the physical abilities. We got to stop electing people in their 80s.
I
Probably
agree with that.
70s. If we could get some 50s and 60s, we'd be doing a lot better. But
That would be nice.
all right, my friend, let's check next week and see where we are. All right.
Trump, Vance.
I think you're going to be saying, I didn't think she could win, but I was wrong.
I better not.
All right. See you, bud.
See ya.